Back in action, it is orange and blue today. Cecil Lammy, Andrew Mason, and talking about this Broncos defense. Now, this could be the shortest show on record in OBT history. Can the Broncos be a top 5 defense? Yes. Next.
It can, but we gotta dive into it because, of course, last year it was a tale of two defenses. I mean, I guess that's the oldest cliche in the book. A tale of two blank, right?
Right.
I mean, we could do the other thing. It was the best of defenses. It was the worst of defenses because for 12 weeks last year, it was very nearly the best of defenses because the Broncos were third in the league in total defense until the end of November. Right there, 296 yards a game. And then in December, they were dead last in total defense. And then came the game against Kansas City where they played the scrubs. So you don't count that really.
Right.
Doesn't really matter. And they shut out the Chiefs. And then against Buffalo, it was right back to being a defense that was at the bottom of the barrel as Buffalo just ran through it, which is, why when the Broncos did their self-scouting and their self-evaluation in the weeks after the season and took a cold, hard look at the film and where the team really was, looked at the roster, looked at the players, looked at the depth, because I think that was another thing, and we've talked about this. Once they got to December, when they lost Riley Moss, atop of already having lost Alex Singleton in week 3, losing Riley Moss kind of was the moment that pushed things over the edge, and they had to put Levi Wallace back out there, and he struggled. And it got a bit better when they put Chris Abrams-Drain in there, but still the D struggled in multiple ways. It struggled to stop the run when they came back from the bye against the Colts, struggled across the board against the Chargers. They got Riley Moss back, but couldn't contain the Bengals. They end up targeting the defense heavily in free agency and then go to Jahdae Barron to start the draft. Of course, he fell to them, but clearly you look at the Broncos in the offseason, it was targeting the defense because it was an area that needed reinforcements and showed why. So when I look at this Broncos DCs, I don't look at where it stacked up in terms of how it ended the season. I sort of look at where it was those first 12 games, and then I look at where it was in December plus the playoff game. And that showed where the cracks were and where they needed to certainly at least kind of spackle and reinforce things and get things right.
Right. And it showed, like we always talk about film showing up of a quarterback, right? Well, as the season goes on, they'll figure it out. Well, as the season went on, you realize, it just run on him. And then the Riley Moss injury was just a bridge too far. Mace, this offseason, it's really the collection of players, in my opinion, that they've added, because it is that depth now. You added starters, but you also thus have put a guy like PJ Locke, who's a quality starter, now as a depth piece. Drew Sanders, we're excited about Drew Sanders, but he's a depth piece. You're not relying on an unknown there. So you patch the holes and you provided depth in case of injury.
Yeah, and even on the defensive line, I mean, you have your rotation, of course. So you bring back DJ Jones, and I think that was huge as well to make sure you didn't lose somebody like him. That would have hurt. And yeah, you may look at that contract for a veteran like him and somebody who he's more of a base package guy and say, okay, that might be a bit much, but you didn't want to take a hit to your run defense, especially in the base, by losing him. But then you bring in Savion Jones, who in off-season work, again, no pads, so we don't want to put too much on it just yet. We want to see what happens when pads go on. But did look like he had a nice burst, was making some plays, showing good penetration. Looks like he might be able to be helpful in that rotation right away. So is he somebody that perhaps provides a little bit of an upgrade when you go 5 deep in your defensive line in a game, yeah, certainly, especially if he stacks up some snaps, gets to be playing right away. By midseason, might you be talking about him as somebody who's really making a positive contribution? Yeah. And again, if you have an injury, and injuries, even though this team has a pretty good health rate in the last couple of years, knock on every surface you have, with what they believe are their nutrition, health, training methods, and all that. But if you do have some injuries, you feel like you're in better shape, even on the defensive line, bringing in a guy like Savion Jones to have a little bit more depth there. So you should be in better shape at all three levels of the defense, depth-wise. You fortified things. You mentioned PJ Locke. Jaquan McMillan might have a lesser role with Jahdae Barron coming in. And Barron, by the way, they're in OTAs, they were working him not only slot but outside. So there might be plenty of work for him as this sort of hybrid guy that they just kind of move all around as a chess piece, and you don't know where he's coming from. So maybe a lot more looks you could throw at an opposing offense, to try to confuse teams as you face them.
They got a joker on offense and they got a rover on defense.
Okay, I like that.
Some teams say joker on defense too, but we'll just say rover since joker's already taken. But I love the versatility.
Star, which is what he was at Texas.
That's what he was at Texas. Yes, the star, Jahdae Barron. And think about this, our companion shows here, like top 10 offense, top 5 defense. If that offense is putting their foot on the gas, I mean, my God, Nick Bonitto, pin your ears back. Jonathan Cooper, go get him. If you're better against the run, which you should be with Dre Greenlaw out there on patrol, Alex Singleton healthy, top 5. I'm not going to say they're going to be number 1 in the league. However, if they finish number 1 in the league, I wouldn't be surprised.
If they finish number 1 in the league, you'd like to think that Vance Joseph's probably somebody's head coach next year.
Yes.
If they finish number 1 in the league, it creates that good problem to have. Like you're making a change at defensive coordinator. And certainly you've got the successor waiting in the wings. I think if Vance Joseph moves on, almost certainly Jim Leonard's going to be your next defensive coordinator. Now, you obviously have to go through the Rooney Rule protocol, of course. But I think the way things are structured, what you would expect to happen, especially with Jim Leonard getting that promotion to assistant head coach last year, one of the promotions they threw around for him, for Zach Strief, for Davis Webb, as the Broncos coaching staff was getting poached a little bit, which tells you about what people around the league think of the job being done in Denver here. There's a lot of admiration for what's going on with the Broncos the last couple of years. But certainly, to go back to Vance Joseph for a moment, with great power comes great responsibility. He's got some great power personnel-wise on this defense. He has the responsibility to guide it and mold it into a top unit. Top 5 is probably the expectation with the personnel that he has. Returning the defensive player of the year, returning second team All-Pros in Zach Allen and Nick Bonitto. Zach Allen had a marvelous season, one of the best interior pass rush seasons we've seen in recent NFL history in terms of generating quarterback hits, generating quarterback pressures. And if that unit doesn't finish as one of the best defenses in the NFL, Cease, I mean, frankly, if it's not a top 10 unit, I think we go from talking about Vance Joseph maybe being a head coach candidate to Vance Joseph probably being guided out the door. I mean, if anybody has a hot seat with the Broncos headed into 2025, respectfully, it's probably Vance Joseph, given the unit that he has to work with. Big things are justifiably expected from him and this defense. Not a lot of excuses there on that side of the ball.
Yeah, not a lot of excuses, but a lot of talent and working together. I've always said defense and ground game go hand in hand. So if the ground game is better, you're wearing out your opponent your defense gets to drink Gatorade. So not only are they tenacious and ferocious and they get out there and your offense is scoring points, but if you can run the ball, Mace, your defense is even fresher because it allows you the benefit of time.
Yeah. And then you start the other thing on the defense, other than total yardage, you start looking at what they do on a per possession basis as well, because if the offense is queuing up time, if the running game is able to do its job and do its job more effectively, and you can limit the possessions that they're out there and limit their exposures, boy, you're really starting to set things up to where they should have some pretty good metrics. And if they're working from ahead, not only this should they have good metrics, they should be able to generate takeaways. And if they're working from ahead, you should be able to force them to throw in places they don't want to throw, like throw in the direction of one Pat Surtain II, and give opportunities for him to make plays. And then that's where you talk about, okay, can Certan match what he did last year? I say, okay, where do you go from up? I've said that a few times for Certan. Defensive player of the year last year. Where do you go from literally being the best in the league? Where do you go from number one? Okay, well, you match that. All you can do is match that. How do you do that? How do you be back to back? How do you become a back-to-back defensive player of the year? It's going to rely upon the ball going in his direction, those opportunities happening, and then him being able to take advantage of it. So some of that is incumbent upon the players around him doing a good enough job to where quarterbacks feel like they may have to test him a little bit. So some of that is on Jaquan McMillan, Jahdae Barron, and Riley Moss. But some of that is also going to be on the offense and what it can do, get ahead and force opponents into uncomfortable situations. Some of that is on the pass rush, attacking, maybe some creative rushes as well, forcing those hot reads to where the quarterback's like, okay, I just got to get rid of the ball. And if that ball happens to be in Certan's direction, you're not really concerned about it. You're just getting rid of it and setting up those opportunities. So that's where Defensive Player of the Year number 2, that second trophy for Certan, that's where it may come. I mean, you're more concerned about the team accomplishments, obviously, but wouldn't it be great to get number 2, the second trophy in his case, and really burnish those credentials for bigger accomplishments like, I don't know, building that gold jacket resume. Yeah, let's think about that as well for a moment.
I like it. Now I'm thinking of a hot YouTube title of how many trophies will the Broncos have in 2025?
Oh my gosh.
We won't do that.
Well, we won't, but I mean, we could think of, okay.
Good.
How many trophies could the Broncos have? A Lombardi trophy, yes. A Lamar Hunt trophy.
Yes.
A Defensive Player of the Year trophy.
Right.
Okay. An MVP trophy. I mean, I guess if Bo Nix just exploded.
Bo Nix was MVP, right?
Okay. Let's say RJ Harvey just has an amazing season. Offensive Rookie of the Year trophy.
Okay.
I mean, if he has an amazing season, could he have Offensive Player of the Year? I mean, let's just go all out, right?
Could Barron be Defensive Rookie of the Year?
Yeah, maybe. Is there there's not really a comeback Player of the Year, is there? I mean, not really.
Evan Ingram, maybe?
Wait, Alex Singleton.
Oh, yes.
Alex Singleton just goes wild and has like 200 tackles and a couple of pick sixes or something like that. And he's your comeback Player of the Year. I don't know. I mean, just go buck wild with this. Why not? Assistant Coach of the Year. That's an award now. I mean, Vance Joseph.
Is there a trophy?
Yeah, I think I believe that is a new trophy now, right?
Wow. Okay. The NFL loves trophies. Walter Payton Man of the Year trophy, right?
Yeah.
Who's that going to be?
Yeah, the AP Assistant Coach of the Year, because last year it was Ben Johnson. I mean, I don't know if it's like.
And Ben
Johnson. I don't know if it's like a thing.
A head coaching job.
Yeah.
Vance Joseph could be in line for a head coaching job.
Yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of things. How many trophies could this Broncos team get?
Collect them all.
Like you collect cards, collect trophies.
Yeah.
This thing just went off the rails.
It did. That's what we do sometimes. But it is orange and blue today, and we are here for you. Can the Broncos be a top 5D? Mace, to wrap things up, I would say I'm okay with that expectation. Sometimes it's a little outlandish. How can you expect that? No. Top 5. They are a top 5 defense. That is the expectation. It's not where they can get. I see them as that right now.
It absolutely should be the expectation. No doubt. And frankly, it should be a disappointment if this unit is not a top 5 defense. When you have the returning defensive player of the year, when you have second team all pros like Nick Bonitto and Zach Allen coming back, when you add a top rookie like Jahdae Barron, when you bring in Greenlaw and Talanoa Hufanga to supplement that, this has the personnel to be a top 5 defense. There is not a weak line. Defensive line, linebackers, secondary. It's strong. They have experience, depth all around. No excuses. This should be a top 5 defense. Vance Joseph, you've got the best crew you've ever had. Go do it.
Now it's on you. All right. I like that. I love it. And I want some more of it. That's a wrap for today's program. We appreciate everyone out there for watching. But Mace, how can folks like it, love it, and want more of us on YouTube?
They can like.
They can comment.
They can share.
They can subscribe.
They can dance.
If you want to. And you can hit that notification bell, Mace, so you what?
Never
miss
vid.
That's right. It is orange and blue today. He is Andrew Mason. Follow him on all the socials at Mace Denver. I'm at C Salami saying OBT's BFD. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. I'll learn how to speak English and stay frosty.